The Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention considering revisions to the outdoor mask guidance. The pressure's ramping up on scientific experts to show their work as pandemic restrictions remain in place. Let's bring in tonight's panel to talk about that. Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall, the host of The Next Revolution, Steve Hilton, and host of Jason in the House podcast and author of the new book, They Never Let a Crisis Go to Waste, Jason Chaffetz. Welcome to all of you.
Hi, Shannon.
So there are increasingly people who are going public with their questions about seemingly conflicting information that people are getting. Get everybody vaccinated, but then tell everybody you still got to wear your mask and can't be with people and do all these other things. Here's Senator Rand Paul, who also happens to be a medical doctor himself. Jason, are we going to get to that message at any point?
I would hope so. The big question is, does the vaccine work? Because if it works, why do you have to wear a mask? And there's so many conflicting messages. First of all, I'm sick and tired of Dr. Fauci. It's time for him to retire. He likes doing all the interviews like Vanity Fair and do that. I don't see him doing the work and the science. I see him doing all the media interviews. And I think Jim Jordan's questions on April 15th were right. What are the metrics? Tell us exactly when we've achieved what we need to achieve and what we need to do, but they seem to be making it up on the fly. Wear 2 masks, get a vaccine, and then still have to have a 4-year-old wear a mask on an airplane. It does not make sense to most people.
Well, and when people look around and they see Dr. Fauci when he threw out the first pitch at the Nationals game here in Washington, pictured in the stands with his mask off, sitting next to other people, it just makes people skeptical and asking questions about what does he really believe? What do we need to believe? What's the science? Real Clear Markets says this, the danger of Anthony Fauci, even without panicky politicians, writing, the problem with government service is that being wrong rarely has consequences. Leslie.
I just got my first vaccine this past Saturday, and I asked the MD that put it into my arm, in addition to the MD that I live with each and every day, my husband, can I stop wearing a mask? And they said no. And the reason is you can still get COVID once you're vaccinated. What the vaccine does is it helps you and prevents hopefully death and really, really bad illness, being put on a ventilator or being put into the ICU. Another thing is your body takes time to build up the immunity, so you could still get the virus. You may even have the virus and be asymptomatic once you're getting vaccinated. So they say to wear a mask because you could be a carrier as an asymptomatic individual, and you still can get, the vaccine doesn't make you immune from getting COVID-19, and Senator Rand Paul should know better as an MD. And so to be safe, we need to still wear our masks. When we look at the states, we have less than half of the people, especially in states that are governed by Republican governors, that have not been vaccinated yet. And remember, herd immunity is a minimum of 70 to 75% of our population. We're a ways from that right now.
Steve, we also see that a number of states that are run by red governors, Republican governors, that it was predicted weeks ago that Texas and other places that rolled back these mandates were absolutely going to crash. That's not happening, so I haven't heard a lot of updates in the media about that. And there could be a number of different factors. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on in Michigan right now. But in the meantime, we have this from Jennifer Rubin over at the Washington Post, an opinion piece. She says it's time to stop catering to the vaccine holdouts. She says the number of those who do not want the vaccine, roughly 20%, has been immovable since January, suggesting these people, which includes as much as 40% of Republicans, are impervious to reason and facts. So, Steve, if you, for any reason, have questions or hesitations about the vaccine, you're not a logical thinker.
There's no logic in any of this. The whole thing is so infuriating to people. Leslie just gave a perfect example of it. We hear the whole time, she repeated it just now, from the doctors, that you have to keep wearing a mask if you've been vaccinated, because being vaccinated doesn't mean that you can't still transmit the virus. Okay, fair enough. But the same day you hear Fauci on another media interview, as Jason's saying, he's barely off the media, saying the reason that young, healthy people who may think, I don't need to get vaccinated because I'm not at serious risk. What did he give as the reason that they should get vaccinated? Because then you won't transmit. It is totally inconsistent. And right from the word go, Fauci and all the people who've been dictating all this to America in a way that I can't believe we've put up with, have been following not the science, not the facts, not the data, but ideology. They've been following an old playbook for a different disease. It is totally outrageous that we're still having this inflicted on us, and I don't think anyone should put up with it any longer, because clearly the people who are in charge don't know what they're talking about.
Well, now we have this conversation about vaccine passports. The Biden administration has said it's not going to come from them. There won't be a federal government effort. We know a lot of this may happen with private businesses. But in Hawaii, they're doing this now. They say starting May 11th, fully vaccinated travelers who've received their vaccine in Hawaii may travel inter-county. So they talk about the different islands without having to take a pre-travel test or quarantine for 10 days, all kinds of things. But Jason, this gets back again to, if we're told the vaccine is not foolproof, you can still contract it and possibly spread it. That's what we're being told. Then what is the point of a vaccine passport? Why should that give you access if we're told that the vaccine is not going to be 100% effective in every case? It can't be.
It can't be. Look, I am totally 100% opposed to a so-called vaccine passport. I think it's fraught with problems. You know what? The proper role of government is to inform the people, provide them all the data, provide them possible solutions, help develop those solutions. But then there's personal responsibility has got to kick in. Personally, my wife and I, we both have had the vaccine, and I think it's good. It's good for us and our family. But my next door neighbor may choose not to. They don't need to I have a passport and they don't have a passport. I mean, where's the end to that? That is totally invasive, and it's not in the spirit of who we are as Americans. We want to be safe, make good decisions, but provide us the information and allow us to make that decision.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's certainly feeling like there is hope on the horizon. I think a lot of folks are feeling that way now as these numbers come down. We hope they continue to trend that way and everybody gets a chance to go back to life pre-COVID. And I think we're all going to appreciate everything like football games and concerts and hugs from grandma a lot more than we ever did before. Leslie, Steve, and Jason, thank you all.
Thank you, Shannon.